This is 14.2, the 6-week exercise program for Client 2 by Aaron Sparrow. So firstly, the same as Client 1, we gave them a PAR-Q and a lifestyle questionnaire to answer and fill out for us. This is just to get a general sense of if they're healthy and making sure they can do exercise in a safe environment, and it's safe for them to exercise. So the client profile. So this is Soup. Sue has no medical problems. She isn't physically active and hasn't been since she left school. Works during the day, Monday to Friday, however is free every evening and weekends. She doesn't smoke, however drinks quite heavily. Hasn't had any injuries or surgery, eats fast food regularly and hasn't got a balanced diet, which isn't helpful for us in the program. Gets enough sleep, isn't on any medication, doesn't work in a very stressed environment, and she has a family. We need to take that into consideration because she will need time to spend with them as well. So the goals. So, firstly, Sue wants to run in the Brighton Marathon, and she wants to complete the marathon in under 4 hours and 20 minutes. Considering Sue hasn't been physically active for a long time, this is going to be a challenge for Sue. Firstly, she needs to increase her cardiovascular fitness. Public transport will be cut out of her daily routine, and she'll be walking to work, cycling, jogging, all of that stuff. So we're going to make her general life healthier as well as implementing exercises in the gym or outside the gym. So my target for Sue is at the end of the 6 weeks is for her to run 20 miles, as this will prepare her for the marathon, because the Brighton Marathon is 26 miles. So I want her to run and complete a 20-mile run, and hopefully that will show progression from where she's at now. This is specific with Sue because it will benefit her, and it's all generated around that Brighton Marathon goal, so it's specific. It's achievable, because I think that we'll gradually increase the, I think it's achievable because, you know, it will gradually each week progress slightly, so it's not too hard for Sue. It's not much of a gap to clear each week. It'll be measured at the end. Obviously, we'll do gradual tests throughout, bumping it up from 5 miles, 10 miles to 15. So it can be measured easily enough. I think it's realistic for Sue because at the moment you don't want her to go full out on the 26 miles. You want her to not go over the top and with her training and stuff. So I think a 20 mile is realistic for Sue. And it obviously will be over the 6 week period. So that's the first goal. So this second goal is Sue would like to increase her muscular endurance. This will assist in her in the marathon. Therefore, muscular endurance needs to be increased in both upper body and lower body, as arm movement is needed as well as running. So when she's running, she needs both her legs and her arms. It's continuous endurance when you're running a marathon in quadriceps, hamstrings, calves, and the soleus as well. So muscular endurance has to be increased. So my target for Sue at the end of the 6 weeks for this goal is I'd like her to last an hour on the rowing machine or something in this pushing her to muscular endurance, so cycling, rowing, cross trainer for an hour. And then straight after being on that, I want her to take a 1 minute break just to gather her energy and then get onto a running machine at a speed of 12 RPE and do that for an hour. So if she can do that by the end of the 6 weeks, it shows that she can last a marathon having already been fatigued in some way. So I think that's specific for her because it will increase her muscular endurance, which will obviously then help her run longer distances without being fatigued. It's measurable. I guess you could every other week again move up the time scale of the sessions and eventually getting to the 2 hours, and also using the same equipment in different sessions as well, like the rowing machine and the cross trainer and the cycling machine. If you get her used to all of those things, it's not going to be as difficult. So that's one way you can measure it. It's achievable for her because, again, you know, we're going up each week slowly. The gap isn't big. It's not too much for her. I think it's realistic because it hasn't been set too high, and I think by the time of the 6 weeks she's going to be fit enough to complete this. If we did the goal now, it wouldn't be realistic for her to complete, but I think after the end of the 6 weeks she'll be physically fit enough to do this, and it will be over the 6 week period. So for warm up and cool down, I'll warm Sue up at a rate of 13 RPE. This is because these exercises will be fairly intense. The sessions will be hard on her, so we need to increase the blood flow to be quicker, and the heart also needs to be working at a high enough level for these activities. Also include dynamic stretching of all muscles, because static decreases strength. The cool down at a rate of 9 RP, because I don't want the heart rate to drop too quickly. For Sue, from going really high to really low, that wouldn't be very good. The cool down will include very light jogging and both dynamic and static stretches to break down lactic acid. So week 1, this is light compared to all the other weeks, I guess. It's starting off slow. So firstly, go from Preston Park to work RPE level of 10. Ensure that she walks at least 4 flights of stairs. A gym session from 7 to 8:30. This will include cardiovascular exercises such as cross trainer, treadmill, rowing machine, and also, of course, the treadmill will be the key one in that, just to get her prepared and know the feel of the running. I put all of these exercises, whether it's flights or walking to stairs, I put it in simply because we want to create a habit for Sue. So even after the 6-week program, still want her to be generally healthy. So putting these exercises in place will hopefully create a habit. So when she's at work, we're making her walk 4 flights of stairs, she'll do that after the 6-week period if the habit's been put in place. I've put the cardiovascular exercises because they'll improve Sue's cardiovascular system. However, the session isn't too long. It's only the first week. The treadmill and the rowing machine and cross trainer also have no resistance on them. Tuesday, the same daily habits again, but no gym session, just to make sure that she's not fatigued for the next few days. Wednesday, Pilates 7 to 8. This will improve muscular endurance in the core. Pilates is fairly easy to pick up. The session isn't too long, she'll struggle. Pilates is meant to increase the flexibility and strength. However, doing Pilates over a long period of time becomes a muscular endurance exercise. Thursday, no gym session. However, I would recommend do some exercises at home. For example, I'd jog any route 45 minutes at a rate of RPE 13. Also, again, walk to work and walk at least 3 flights of stairs. I've put this in place so Sue kind of knows the consistency of running, so she knows what her RPE level actually is, and if she can handle 45 minutes at this level, it would be a good starting point for us to work at. So Friday then, no gym session, don't do any exercises at home. This will be a recovery day. This is again just to make sure that she isn't fatigued and isn't overworked or anything like that. And then, just to give her a break, the weekend will also be rest days where no exercise, just to give some time to recover. If a rest day wasn't put in place, then injury and extreme fatigue would occur. So that's week 1. Week 2, Monday, make sure, again, all the habits are still in place, walking to work, flight to stairs. Gym session from 7 to 8:45, we'll be doing a different time from last week to stick to the FIT, which is increasing the time of it. 3 sets of burpees, 15 in each, a plank exercise with a 2-minute hold, wall sit with a 2-minute hold, finally continuous treadmill running for 25 minutes at a rate of 10 RPE. Put these exercises in place as they all require muscular endurance, and Sue needs to improve this if she wants to succeed her goal. Tuesday, no gym session, but again, still doing the daily habits, walking to work, using the flights of stairs. Wednesday, I'm putting in a spinning session from 7 to 8:30. This will hopefully improve Sue's muscular endurance and cardiovascular system. And again, the same habits put into place, walking, going downstairs. Spinning is a great way to increase cardiovascular endurance as well as lower body muscular endurance, as this will act exactly what Sue needs to complete both her goals. Thursday, no gym session, however, do exercises at home, include floor runs, wall sits, and if possible, cycle after work at a rate of 11 RPE. Put this in place simply because the cycling, again, increases muscular endurance, and doing exercises at home is a variety from gym. You don't want to constantly do gym sessions every day, so. On the Friday, no gym session, and don't do any exercises at home. This will be a recovery day. So again, just to avoid fatigue. On the Saturday, a 5-mile run with me on the roads with her. Just RP, I'd like her to time herself, and hopefully each week we can improve on it. This exercise is put into place because Sue knows what it's going. So hopefully she'll know after this what it's going to be like doing the marathon on the roads and stuff like that. However, the distance is short, so she doesn't get overwhelmed by it. And Sunday is a rest day just to avoid fatigue and injury. So that's week 2. Week 3. Week 3 again. On the Monday, gym session, 7 to 8:45. This will include different exercises to last week. However, the amount is going up in order to increase the frequency. 3 sets of 20 squats even, without any added weight, 3 sets of 20 crunches, and 3-minute plank, and finally a 25-minute exercise on the cycling machine at an RPE rate of 12. The session is increasing both muscular endurance and cardiovascular endurance, so this will help Sue train for a second goal mainly. I'm also changing the exercises so TDM doesn't set in. No gym session on Tuesday, just the daily habits. On the Wednesday, Pilates class from 7 to 8:30, in order to help tone stomach and achieve her goal. For the core, obviously core needs to also be in place. Get off Brighton Station and walk, again, daily habits. On the Thursday, this week's Thursday session, I want to take the whole day off the exercise and just do a yoga session. This is just to relax and use as not as a rest day, but just to make sure that, she doesn't feel too stressed with this all. Friday, I'd like Sue to walk from Preston Park to work at a rate of 11 RPE. Gym session from 7 to 8. This will be pure cardiovascular exercises. Shuttle runs, rowing machine. I'll also conduct the beep test. So yeah. On the Saturday, again, another 5-mile run. I'd like Sue to improve from what she did last week, to show progression, and Sunday is a rest day. So week 4. On the Monday, gym session from 7:30 to 9. It's a Zumba session. It won't be run by me, it'll be run by somebody else at the gym. Zumba is a quick fire, short burst of energy, great way to increase cardiovascular fitness. It's also doing different from what we've previously done on the Monday, so TDM won't set in. Tuesday, no gym session, just a daily habits. I'll be putting Sue in a spinning session for 2 hours. This will hopefully increase muscular endurance and cardiovascular. I've also increased the time, so the time of the FIT, so the overload principle is still there. No gym session on the Thursday, but I'd like to do some independent running. First time on her own, long distance. It will be a challenge, and to record the time of that to see if we progressed from last week. It'll be a 10-mile run. So that's increasing the intensity of the exercise, which is still sticking to overload. On the Friday, no gym session. On the Saturday, it'll be a lower body endurance session primarily. We'll include exercises such as leg press, calf press, squats, all at a rate of 14 RPE. All weights will be 5 kg reps in sets of 3. And I wanted to make sure that our last session is definitely focused on lower body. Week 5, I'll be putting Sue in a spinning session from 7 till 9:35. This will hopefully improve Sue's muscular endurance and cardiovascular system, and it will push her closer to her goal. Also, the daily habits are still in use. I've used the overload principle and increased the time of the RPE so increases the time and RPE from last week. So that's definitely using intensity and time, increasing both of those. No gym session on Tuesday. Wednesday, Pilates class from 7 to 8:30. Again, that will increase muscular endurance. And over a long period of time, Pilates increases muscular endurance, pretty much. Gym session 6 to 8 on the Thursday, pure cardiovascular training. The exercises will be to include cross-trainer, rowing, machine. I want Sue to run at least 5 miles on the treadmill at the end of the session. No gym session on the Friday. On the Saturday, I would like her to run 20 miles on her own. I want Sue to do this independently, and just to make sure that she can do this before we conduct the test tomorrow. And Sunday is a rest day. Monday, I'd like Sue to run 20 miles and time herself. Our goal is to complete this 20 mile in under 4 hours. Hopefully she'll be able to complete the 20-mile run, and as a result of her goal, cardiovascular fitness will be improved, and that will complete her goal. Wednesday, I want to practice for Friday, so all muscular endurance on the body, leg press, squats, calves, all at 14 RPE to get her ready for the Friday, where we'll conduct the last session for her, where it's simply the final session. I want Sue to last 1 hour on the rowing machine on a fairly high resistance, and then straight after that, with a light break, 1 hour on the treadmill. That will hopefully show that we've completed all of her goals in the 6-week program by doing this last week. And that is the 6-week program.